myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically we are discussing the most dangerous topic, that is India account. And here basically I have taken example of India account only basically. But in real basically there are USA account, UK account, UAE account. There are many countries. Each and every country basically they have account. But which bank basically having that account, that basically we also don't know basically. And that is basically not a World Bank. That is 100% sure. So one of the person told that each and every accounts basically contains the data, that is tax debit, tax credit. Whatever things basically purchased by the India country or basically by USA country, that all basically contains into the barter system basically. They basically are not included here basically. That basically different, it's a different data only basically. But that is directly connecting to this India account basically. Whatever barter system basically are doing the process, they are directly affecting to the India account basically. If India is purchasing some oil from UAE, that will be barter system. They are not going to pay the money basically. They are going to give some business. So one of the person told that this is the more dangerous thing basically, that is MBA basically. So MBA basically should contains everything basically. This everything basically mostly basically it might not be containing. But it is happening basically. This is happening. Practically this is happening. But it's not there in the books basically. But that should be included basically. Because rule says that basically whatever things basically you are doing practically that must be included in the education basically. That is the rule of the education basically. But MBA book basically, I have read, I am basically not an MBA person, but one of the education institute basically given me the brochure of MBA. From that basically I have tracked that basically. From one of the Bugriwali basically, Mumbai, they given me one brochure basically of MBA. That was a private institute. From that basically I tracked them basically. MBA basically does not include the barter system. Just now basically I told UAE given the oil to the India. They are not going to charge the money basically. India is going to give the business basically to UAE. India is giving something basically to UAE. So UAE will give the business to the, it can be in the form of software, it can be in the form of the construction thing basically which is ongoing currently. So you can just imagine basically it's very deeply basically you have to recreate the MBA books basically. You have to recreate the MBA book. So that is basically different topic. So here basically, but that basically education department have to do. That is must basically. Because rules is telling that basically whatever things basically you are included in the practical things basically. Practical means on the base of whatever ideas basically you are earning the money, that must be included in the book. That is the rule basically. But here basically MBA education group basically who created the MBA books, they are not added basically. So whatever things basically, that is different thing basically. So one of the person told that the near around basically you have the data. For example, some education department basically assume that basically in some MBA or basically one in Vadodara city there are I think 4 to 5 colleges. Assume that something basically happened in one of the college. 4 to 5 colleges are there basically in Vadodara city. That is going. That is basically near around Vadodara 35 lakh population basically. If there basically the problem happens, na basically, it is directly going to affect to that 35 lakh population basically. Assume that basically this side basically the, or basically the this side 3 to 4 2 to 3 2 to 3 colleges data are here. Colleges means, for example, MS University college is there. That data is here. Parul University data is here. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, whatever college basically data is here. Assume that something basically happened in MS University. So after certain days, basically that data from here basically it's going to affect basically, because the energy creation is like this basically, and the solution basically will give is going to be given by the 35 lakh population only. We can just imagine basically 35 lakh population basically, the for example some problem basically occurred, so immediately basically that is going to affect to the your body. 35 lakh population, few population basically they have the antibiotic, few population don't have. And what is antibiotic, that also we are going to discuss, but really what actually the antibiotic is, that is very dangerous thing basically. So they told that it's going to react, body is going to react. If you have the antibiotic then basically no issue, otherwise basically it will react and basically you have to take the medicine. And that medicine data basically taken by the different doctors. Assume that basically in Vadodara city there are few doctors, whatever basically more than 1 lakh doctors basically are there in Vadodara city. They are going to give the medicines, whatever medicines they have available from the Vadodara medical industry market, that is the healthcare department of Vadodara city. That is basically the connected by the corporators and MLAs basically, and they are connected with the chief ministers, and chief minister are connected with the prime ministers, and prime minister are connected with the World Bank or World Health Organization basically. So they basically given the medicine, data get processed basically, data gets processed, data taken by the power company, energy company, again basically data are sent to the each and every body parts, each and every body parts. So you can just imagine one issue basically connected to the one college basically, it's going to affect to 35 lakh people basically. And here basically Vadodara nuclear power company basically they can't change the rule basically, it's the international rule basically. Because if you change, by chance if you will change, then basically you have to inform to other countries also basically that this we have changed, and when you are going to take the data it will be like that basically. For example, tomato and potato basically is created from Vadodara energy, and here basically the energy was also connected with that potato and tomato energy, so that is also going to affect. So you can just imagine basically the stuff basically. Now basically one more another thing basically, and this is very dangerous thing basically. Assume that basically from land basically, any of the land basically, I will take Vadodara land. Assume that Vadodara land basically, from land basically, not from the energy and the chemicals, from Vadodara land, from one area basically of Vadodara city, they had some potato and tomato. They given to many countries. Assume that to 130 countries basically they have given that tomato and potato. Suddenly basically due to some reason basically, what reason basically that we don't know, that we will discuss how basically earthquake happens, and that basically I have already discussed in many of the videos basically. You can watch that video basically. Suddenly basically earthquake happened to that land basically, from the 130 countries basically are taking the potatoes and tomato energy. So one person told that before basically when the energy before the earthquake was not coming, from that land basically the power companies was taking the data, giving the data to the 130 countries, power companies, energy companies and nuclear companies. There basically the tomato energy basically and potato energy was getting the proper energies. Due to that basically there was due to that the body basically was having no problem. suddenly earthquake happened. Is that basically going to react to in that land basically, from where basically the tomato and potato basically got created, consume basic not consume basically, you can say that, you can say production basically happened. Production basically what happens from the factory. So here basically you can give production also basically, you can give the name basically farming basically, you can give the name farming. Potato and tomato farming basically happened, and they basically, and that basically land got earthquake. So here the question is 130 country going to affect the people basically who had the potato from that particular land? The question is yes, basically they are going to affect. So here basically they got effect. Few body basically got, they have the antibiotic. Antibiotic is what basically the exact say the tomato and potato basically done the production from that land, exactly same not exactly basically, but near around the land area, near around data of that particular land, not near around, the data of that particular land basically was there somewhere in other land also. That potato and tomato basically also, that group basically, that is the 130 countries population basically had it. So due to that basically the antibiotic was there, that contains the antibiotic, that was the antibiotic. The people who had not they basically had not consumed the other country, other lands tomato and potato, they basically will get disease. In that disease basically is given some medicine, that medicine basically is given name as antibiotic, and the antibiotic is same tomato and potato but of the different land. So one of the person told that that's very dangerous here. Nowadays basically to eat anything also basically as a, it has become very dangerous. Not now basically, it's from far time basically. From Raja Sahi family basically this problem is occurring basically. One of the person told that it's not a small it's not a just now basically the problem has came basically, it's a very old problem. So when the Raja Sahi family was doing the production of tomato and potato, from that time basically they were going to face the problem. They were basically facing the problem. Medicine was also there basically. It's not like that the medicine was not there. And medicine can be tomato and potato also, and same land basically date other data also basically it can be. But the exact medicine is tomato and potato is all tomato and potato of other land basically. That will be the 100% medicine, not 100% basically, 98%. Reason, the data is keeps on processing basically, that's why when you will have the medicine, that time basically your data is already processed lots of time basically. So you will not get the exact medicine 98%, not 100% basically, you will get some 98% basically. 100% basically medicine you never gets, some basically gets effect basically. 100% medicine basically those people gets who are basically connected with the nuclear power company, energy company, satellites group. They are basically very powerful basically. They gets the 100% medicine basically. So you can just imagine basically the dangerous topic basically I just now discussed basically, and it's very dangerous basically. So near around energies are the entire world basically, you can say. One body basically, if you study one body basically near around energies, 6 crore is the blood cells basically which is created by earth planet, and other blood cells are also there basically which was already exist. So that multiply by that much energy basically which is near around you basically, which is near around you basically. So you can just imagine basically It's very dangerous basically. The nuclear power companies, energy companies, their tasks are very dangerous basically. Very, very, very. That's why basically the doctor is the highest degree basically, you can say. Doctor is the highest degree basically. That's why basically they gets the respect because they are doing the level up to that level basically. That's why basically. Energy company, power companies, nuclear power companies, they are doing the task very dangerous thing because it's going to affect. You can just imagine basically. So the task basically which you are doing basically, this energy thing basically, that is one of the reason of earthquake basically which was happened in Vadodara land, and due to that Vadodara land, 130 country basically got affected basically, and that basically creates issue basically. Sometimes creates very big issue basically because 130 country is a not a normal country basically. Sorry, normal count basically. But earthquake basically, the people who don't know basically they say that basically it's a natural disaster basically. But the people who are educated, who basically know really the problem basically what's, they basically keeps on tracking basically. This everything basically comes into the India account basically. And same way in India account, other countries account are also basically you can add it basically. You just need to replace the India to other countries. So currently basically I'm in India, so taking in the example of India. So one of the person told that to handle the India account basically it's very dangerous. So one of the person told that in head basically which type of data basically you have. In near eye basically which type of data basically you have. Near hand basically which type of data you have. Near leg basically which type of data you have. Near stomach basically which type of data you have. Heart basically which type of data you have. Hand basically which type of data you have. So that basically are one of the person who actually decides this basically. That you have to dump this all. For example, police department energy basically. You have to dump near the 35 lakh people basically. Who actually says that basically? Who decides basically? That is also one question basically. Literally basically blindly you can't decide na basically. This data basically we will put here. That data basically we will put here. Those data basically we will put here. That basically you can't decide blindly basically. That data basically you can't decide blindly basically. So one of the person told that it's very dangerous basically to place the data also basically. So one of the person told that the best example I will take one example basically. This is the best example. Assume that basically one person basically is from Vadodara city. This connects to the directly to this example. He basically had one cream basically in entire body. He basically started his journey from Vadodara city morning around 6 o'clock, 6:30, 5 o'clock, whatever time basically. He went to Singapore. When he went from here basically, his color basically was black. When he went to there Singapore basically, his color basically changed basically to white basically. So one of the person told that this was actually the verification of environment basically. That is the environment verification basically. And when basically he want to when same day basically he returned back to Singapore. So from Singapore to India. So that basically he was traveling daily basically from Singapore to India, India to Singapore basically. And there basically from here basically when he went basically that time he was black. So again basically he will have that cream basically India cream came back and he is black basically. Then next day again white, black, like this basically things basically happening. So one of the person told that What is actually this basically? So there are many countries basically who keeps on doing verification basically. It's very dangerous basically to handle the human body energy basically. Near around energy basically it's not easy to handle basically. It's not easy to handle the stuff basically. And in this basically the software industry plays very dangerous role because they know that basically which blood group basically near around what which type of data basically exist. So you can just imagine basically it's not so easy to create anything basically. Especially basically I have taken the example Vadodara city basically was producing tomato and potato. It was consumed by 130 countries. Some population basically had that. Earthquake happened to that land. 130 country basically that people basically is going to affect to their body basically. Why? But after certain days, immediately basically doesn't happen anything. After certain days, basically when the Vadodara data are taken and dumped to 130 countries, that time basically it's going to affect their body's parts. Basically. Few people gets antibiotic, few people basically they have to take antibiotic from doctors. So one of the person told that it's not so easy to create the city also basically. Few people says that भाई इधर 15 बिल्डिंग खड़ी कर दो, put 20 building here, 30 building there, 35 building there, that's all basically. Our task is done. Not easy basically, it's not easy. Because you are producing, for example, that was a land basically. But instead of that land basically, you are now producing from the cities basically. That is the cities equal to potato. Cities energy basically equal to potatoes and tomatoes basically. Cities equal to tomato and potatoes. That city is created, and on the base of that creation basically the tomato and potato was created. Something happened to that city's area, few areas, that is going to affect to the entire countries basically where this tomato and potato was produced. Immediately basically you have to give the solution basically. So one of the person told that it's not so easy to create the cities basically. Few people says that basically क्या करने का है? It's very easy to create the city basically. Corporate, the red batti gadi people basically they are just busy doing time pass basically. Few people will say that basically, but they are actually doing the stuff basically. You see basically the stuff basically which they are doing basically. You just see that stuff basically. The city is producing tomato and potato. That tomato and potato basically the city is created by that red batti vehicle people basically. That is the red batti means MLA basically, corporators, chief minister basically, vehicles basically. That are basically in the red batti only, no, basically. Red batti means red light basically. In the upper side of the car basically, or basically whatever vehicle, they have the red lights basically. So they basically creates the cities, and according to the city basically the tomato and potato was created, and that was consumed by 130 countries. That 130 countries certain level of population. Here basically something damage happened in cities. That damage will is going to that data basically is going to collect by the 130 countries. Then basically the problem basically starts. So you have to give the solution basically. That solution only those group basically can give who actually created this Vadodara city. And that are the red light people basically. The red light batti car people basically. That are corporated MLAs basically, chief ministers, which are connected with the this group basically. So you can just imagine basically it's not easy to create the world. Not world basically, I'm just talking about cities. So world basically you can just imagine basically. The dangerous thing basically it's already created. Because nowadays basically world say that basically natural things basically are getting over. Alternative of natural thing basically are this text box equal to 1000 cities, this software equal to created potato. Software energy basically, and software energies are connected with the set of datas. Datas are connected to the physical locations. Physical locations energy basically, which is collected, which data are collected by the software. That is, I have taken the example of CRM basically. So when the person told that alternative we have taken basically, alternative basically we have done basically, but how tough is it is basically, this everything basically. World is ongoing, right? Basically world, people are getting disease, medicines are given, earthquakes are also happening. That means the creation is perfect basically, the creation is perfectly ongoing basically. Repeating what I just now I told, world is ongoing, construction is also, city creation is also ongoing, human needs are also basically consumed by the people on the base of chemicals and the lands basically. Nothing is happening, they are basically healthy. Few earthquakes are also happening, few people basically are getting disease also, medicines are also given, medicines are also going perfectly fine. That means the world is going perfectly basically. That means that just now basically I told, according to that only the world is ongoing basically. It might possible that few satellite basically might be handling that, or basically few nuclear power company basically might be handling that, but this way the world is ongoing basically. That land example I give, potato and tomato basically consumed by the, sorry, done the production, or basically farming, farmer basically done the farming of that potato and tomato from that land basically, that is the Vadodara land. That what tomato and potato basically was consumed by the 130 countries basically, and from 130 basically few crores people basically had that tomato and potato. Suddenly basically earthquake happened to that land basically, from where the tomato and production tomato and potato basically was produced. After certain days basically the land basically data was taken, that is the Vadodara city power data was taken, given to 130 countries. They basically had that power. Few people basically got ill, few people basically doesn't got ill, because they was having the antibiotic. And what is antibiotic, that basically I have already discussed. So you can just imagine basically the world basically, it's not easy basically. People says that these people are basically यार ये तो मतलब time pass कर रहे हैं. Red light cars basically, the MLAs, corporators, chief minister basically are doing time pass basically. आगे they speak something basically and just they go basically, their task is done basically, and they are basically spending crores of rupees basically in while coming these that basically, having in red latti car, these that basically, they are doing time pass basically, but they are not doing time pass, they are not doing time pass basically, they are basically not doing time pass basically. So one of the person told that here basically the points again connected to Sunilar Nair job. Still Sunilar Nair basically is not getting job. Still Sunilar Nair basically is trying and he is not getting job. And this also connect to that red batti people only basically. Red batti people only. Reason near around me also basically lots of energies are there. Same way the 35 lakh people basically have. This is going to react one day basically, that is 100% sure. So one of the person told that you can't ignore the any of the energies. So 35 lakh people basically is having which kind of energy basically, who actually decides basically? The red batti people basically decides? No basically, they just are into the city creation basically. Doctors decides? Doctors also decide basically, but not up to the level basically. Then basically who decides? That is question basically, who decides actually? That is question. कौन decide करता है? That is actually question basically. Who might be deciding? The nuclear power company, they also decides few things basically. So one of the person wrote that it might be divided to many people basically. It might be divided to doctors, it might be divided to construction department, it might be divided to red batti people basically, it might be divided to professors, it might be divided to physicians basically, it might be divided to the operations group basically that are who are doing the operations of the people basically. Then basically it might be possible divided to few experts or doctors. It might be possible that basically few government doctors basically might be doing something. So each and every energies basically are decided by the set of groups basically. The city creation groups also basically decides. So you can just imagine basically it's not easy basically to create the stuff. So in next video basically we will see a little bit more about this topic.